Today we're going to paint a beautiful unicorn painting. I'm going to show you step by step how to use your supplies like a real artist. All right, are you ready? Let's get started. First, let's make sure we have all of our supplies. You should have a really nice placemat covering your area, a canvas, a cup of water, a palette, a large paintbrush, a small paintbrush, a palette knife, and a rag. Now, let's make sure we have all of the colors that we're going to need. You're going to need black, purple, red, yellow, white, and blue. Don't throw this bag away though. You're going to use this again later. Let's get started. First thing we're going to do is use our palette knife and put a small amount of yellow onto our palette. A small amount of yellow. You're just going to use the very tip of that knife and scrape on the side of the plate just a little bit of yellow. Then I'm going to use my rag and wipe that palette knife clean. Next, I'm going to grab my large brush and I'm going to get it nice and wet. Now I'm going to barely touch the yellow. I don't want to make it go crazy all over the plate. I'm just going to barely touch it. And see how it's kind of getting all liquidy and runny and all over the place? That's how you want it to be. Because now we're just going to paint the whole canvas yellow. Everything is going to be yellow. And you might be thinking, I do not want my unicorn to be painted yellow. That's okay. This is going to be our underpainting. Artists apply an underpainting for a couple of different reasons. One, they use it to create a new tone underneath their pure color. Two, were you a little bit scared to paint on a clean white canvas? Well, this helps relieve that stress. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm just painting with yellow all over the place. I don't have to worry about making a mistake. And number three, this helps your other colors later on stick better. You notice when you're painting with the water and the paint, some parts are kind of like bubbly and weird and it's kind of hard to get the paint to stick to it. You don't want that to happen to your actual picture. So this helps make that paint stick better later on. So if you get big clumps of yellow on there, make sure you thin them out. Just keep using water to kind of make a wash on there. You don't want it to be thick. You want it to be thin for right now. If you want to paint the edges of your picture, go right ahead and paint the edges. If you get kind of like streaks showing or rough parts, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Guess what? None of this yellow is going to show later on. Now we are going to set that yellow painting aside and we are going to do what artists call setting the palette. That means we are going to get all of the colors ready that we are going to be using in our final picture. The colors that I'm going to use are pink, light yellow, lilac, mint green, white, black, red, and blue. Uh-oh, are you thinking, wait a minute, I didn't get all of those colors. I only got black and red and purple. What is she talking about? It's okay. We're going to make all of those colors and I'm going to teach you how. First thing you're going to do, and again, this is going to seem kind of weird. With your palette knife, you're going to make five piles of white on your palette. So I take a scoop, about a tablespoon if you're someone who likes to bake. Maybe not that big, maybe a little small. And you're gonna make 5 of those on your plate. Notice again how I'm scraping on the edge of that plate, trying to get as much paint onto the plate as I possibly can. Also notice I'm leaving a little bit of space in between each one of those piles because I don't want those colors later on to kind of run together. So I'm leaving some space. I have to take my rag and again, I'm gonna wipe that palette knife super duper clean. Okay, so my palette knife is super clean and now I'm going to dip it into the red. This time, I'm only going to take what I call a dollop of red. That means just a little bit less than I took of the white. And I'm going to put that in a different pile on the side of my plate. Now, I'm not going to wipe off my red knife. What I'm going to do is add a little bit more red to the tip of my knife. Then I can start to use the tip and stir and mix and stir and mix. And hey, check it out. I've got pink. I don't want to stir and mix and go crazy all over my plate, right? I want to try to keep it in just that one little pile. If you're satisfied with your pink, scrape that knife off as good as you can on the side of that plate. And then you can wipe it on your rag. Here we go. We are ready to make a nice, light, sunny yellow. Guess what? With your clean knife, you do the same thing. You take a little bit of yellow out of your yellow cup, scrape it on top of your next white pile, and then stir and mix and mix and stir with the tip of your palette knife. Do you have a nice, pretty, light yellow now? Good. Scrape off that knife as good as you can. Wipe it clean. This one is going to be super pretty. We're going to make lilac. So what you're going to do, oh my gosh, wait a minute. This seems like something we totally just did. I'm going to take a little itty bitty scoop of purple and I'm going to mix it on top of the other white pile. The third white pile we're on now, right? And mix and stir and mix until I get the color that I want. You may have noticed we are always mixing the color into the white. This is a little special artist trick I want to share with you right now. Whenever you are mixing two colors together, you always want to mix the darker color into the lighter color. So always have a dollop or a pile or a little itty bitty bit of the light color on your palette first, and then put the darker color into it. Because you can always keep getting darker, but trust me, it is nearly impossible to keep getting lighter. Now, this is what we're going to do. This one's a little bit tricky. It's the tough one. Make sure your knife is really clean. This time you're going to take a little small dollop of yellow. Scrape it on top of your fourth white pile and then clean your knife off. Then take your palette knife and get a little dollop of blue and scrape that on top of your fourth white pile as well. You probably already know this, but yellow and blue are primary colors, and when they mix together, they make green. Yellow and blue make green. So when you stir and mix and stir with that large pile of white, you're going to get a beautiful mint green. Now you might be thinking, why do I have this other pile of white on my plate? You're going to use that later on. The reason it's there is so that we don't contaminate the rest of the white in our jar. Make sure that palette knife is nice and clean. That looks like a pretty nice palette. I think we are ready to draw our unicorn. Go ahead and get your yellow canvas back. Does it still feel kind of wet? You can use your rag and kind of soak up any little puddles that might still be on it, but don't worry, it won't hurt anything. Remember that pile of watered down yellow? We are going to use that to draw. It's a lot easier than using pencils. You'll see. What you're going to do first is draw an oval. Oh no, oh, that's not the shape that I wanted. Guess what? I can take my large brush and just kind of wash it away. See how it blends in with the background? It's still a little too wet. I'll just use my rag and I can wipe up those little puddles. Here I go. I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna draw a nice yellow oval right here on my yellow canvas. Again, in yellow only. This time I'm going to draw the snout and the eyes. The snout is a rainbow and the eyes are like U's. I'm making my unicorn sleeping. You can make the eyes any shape you want. Do you want your unicorn awake or with big bright circle eyes? I'm gonna make my nostrils hearts. You can make yours rainbows. If you notice that the yellow paint on your lines is a little bit gloppy and you're getting these big chunks of yellow and these super thick, chunky yellow lines, you might want to stop using so much paint. It should be pretty pale on there. Let's move on to the ears. The ears and the horn are basically triangle shapes. Look at this. So I'm starting going down like I'm gonna draw a triangle, and I'm starting going down like I'm gonna draw a triangle, and then I go to one side and I go, oh, I make a bolt. And I go back to the other side and oh, I make a bolt. And then the horn is just a triangle. This is the front view of a unicorn, so we're gonna add some shoulders. I'm starting at the snout line and then just making like a rainbow shape again. Finally, once again, with the very tip of my yellow paintbrush, I'm going to draw the beautiful flowy mane. It should overlap part of the horn. Isn't that great? Fine acrylic artists will use neutral colors for their underpaintings, usually a yellow ochre color or a burnt umber. Make sure your large brush is clean and dry. Take your brush for a walk at the bottom of your water cup. That just means that I'm pretending like I'm painting the bottom of the water cup. And then I dry it by pinching it and squeezing it really good into the rag. Pro tip. The water is not actually cleaning your brush. Guess what's cleaning your brush? The rag. We are going to start by painting our background blue. You can use whatever color you'd like. We start with the background because that's probably what's the most dry right now. Our yellow lines are going to need a few minutes to dry. I'm getting as close to those yellow lines as I possibly can and filling in with blue solid color. If it mixes with the yellow a little bit and I can see a little bit of green, I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm also going to paint the edges of my canvas blue. When you are painting with acrylic paints, you should always work large to small. The next largest area is the fur. I'm going to paint my fur white. Again, you can use whatever color you would like. Of course, I have to take my brush for a walk at the bottom of my water cup. Since I just used blue, I want to make sure that my fur doesn't look blue, so I am really making sure that it is rinsed and pinched and squeezed and pinched and squeezed dry. Don't pull on the bristles because you might break your brush. Pinch and squeeze only. So remember that little extra pile of white on your plate? Just in case your brush wasn't that clean, you don't have to ruin the paint in your jar. So I get, again, as close to my other lines as I can, and I'm painting all of that fur white. I might accidentally paint over my eyes. I might accidentally paint over part of my snout. It's okay if those things happen. Just do the best that you can. Oh, this part's a little tricky. The parts of my ears are fur. Oh no, did you see what happened there? I touched the blue. Okay, so I'm gonna just wipe it on my rag. Get a little bit more white. Oh no. Oh, it's still kind of mixing. Okay, wipe it off. Maybe I can try it. Oh no, it just keeps happening. Oh no, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna wait until that dries and I'll see if I can cover that part up later. Now, if you accidentally covered up your eyes and things at this point, you will be super tempted right now to start tracing things in black because it gets a little frustrating that you can't see all of those beautiful details that you already drew. Oh my gosh, don't! Whatever you do, don't get any black paint out right now because it will start to smear and oh my gosh, just don't do it. Don't go anywhere near the black. Okay. Did you hear me? Don't go anywhere near the black until the very, very, very end. That's the last thing we do. Oh, just trust me. No black. Now I'm switching to my small brush. So my next part is my snout. And I'm going in with the pink. And I want to be kind of careful with my details. I don't want to touch the blue or the white paint because I already painted that and it'll kind of start to mix. So just be very, very careful going around your small details. I'm using my pink on my snout and on my ears. Wash your brush off by taking it for a walk at the bottom of your water cup. Pinch dry, pinch dry, pinch dry, pinch dry. Now we are ready for all those pretty pastels. I'm going to use a combination of that really light yellow, the beautiful mint green, and that gorgeous lilac on my palette to paint the swirly, pretty mane on my unicorn. Between each color, I'm going to take my brush for a walk at the bottom of the water cup and pinch dry, pinch dry, pinch dry, pinch dry.
Your hands and you fall through the window and clawing at nothing, you drop through the void. Your terrified screams are inaudible, drowned.
Doesn't that mane look so pretty? I'm washing that brush again and I'm gonna paint those itty bitty little nostrils with the red. Now that you've finished painting all of the shapes with color, it's a great time to go back and fix up any of those parts where maybe you blended a couple of the colors on accident, or you need to paint over something that made a little mistake before you do the last step. Like I said before, acrylic paints dry pretty quickly, but take your time washing and drying your brushes, making sure your palette knife is clean before you do this next step. Maybe go take a little break, get some juice, grab a snack. Wash your hands before you do that though, because these are really nice acrylic paints and you don't want to get any of them in your mouth. The last thing we're going to do is the thing you've been waiting for. We are going to trace our unicorn in black. What I like to do is dip just the tip of my bristles into the little pile of black paint right from the cup. You might want to practice a little bit on your placemat using the very, very tip of your little skinny brush before you do this. Then I use just the tip of my brush to make a wispy thin line to trace some of the larger shapes and add some of those details. I like to go kind of fast on some of the big shapes so that it kind of looks dark to start and then gets lighter towards the end. So you're not making a super fat black line covering everything. It looks beautiful. I think I did a great job. Oh no, I mean I'm talking about your picture. I think you did a great job, but I want to see it. Make sure you post it on Instagram and hashtag it no corner suns, because I really would like to see it. All that extra paint you have, put it in your Ziploc bag. You can totally go paint another picture with it, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It will last for a while. Thank you so much for watching. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to click like and hit subscribe below. Thanks. Ooh, dog barks. Are you gonna be in my video, guys?